What's up, everybody? We're back again with another Q&A. Unfortunately, in today's training session, I injured myself to the exact extent. As of yet, I am not sure. Possibly a torn bicep or bicep tendon, but again, I just don't know yet. On to the first question. What should I look for when buying a bodybuilding belt? You can literally just use the exact same belt that powerlifters or strength athletes use. So just get a quality leather belt that isn't super stiff. That said, for hinges specifically, and specifically like stiff legs and RDLs, less so conventional, but conventional as well, you may benefit from a softer belt because some people will have a thicker leather belt interfere with their spinal position, and it makes it so they basically can't get that exaggerated posterior pelvic tilt, and it just makes it, almost forces you to round your back with some body proportions. Is it important to have the same amount of rest between each microcycle of every movement? Yes, because how else are you going to standardize your progress? Let's say one time you do squats on 2 days rest, and then another time you do squats on 4 days rest. You're always going to perform better on 4 days rest, especially if you're doing any kind of training that's hard and you don't have complete recovery between every session. So you're going to have inaccuracies in tracking your progress if sometimes you're performing worse due to more accumulated fatigue, and sometimes you're performing better due to performing under a state of lesser fatigue. So it is important, in my opinion. Do you think there are some people that just don't have a parental instinct? I mean, sure, but they're going to be a statistical outlier because the survival of the species depends on at least mothers having maternal instincts, because human babies need like 15 to 25 years of maturation before they can fend for themselves. So, sure, I'm sure they exist, but they are statistical outliers, just like there are sociopaths, people that don't have empathy, but those are probably more common than people that don't have parental instincts. Is this really what I find with a question like this is that you're probably just asking, like, am I just one of these people that, since I don't want kids, I just don't have parental instincts? Dude, if you don't want to have kids, just don't have kids. Like, stop seeking permission, stop seeking approval. Do what you want. Is loose skin an issue for pros if there are big differences in before and after body weights during bulks? Pros don't get fat, man, and oftentimes pros don't even have big differences in their body weight between bulks. Like, male competitors that are over 200 pounds at the most might gain 50 pounds in an off season. And when you're starting from contest shredded, gaining 50 pounds puts you at like 15% body fat if you've done it right. So pros don't get loose skin. They don't get fat. What's the deal with California bodybuilders training with high volume and low effort? It's just the cultural institution at Gold's Gym Venice. That's where the bodybuilding culture in California comes from. So a lot of you have to remember that there actually was a time before the internet, and the way that people learned about training was by going to the gym and asking other people at the gym. And in California, that's how pros trained. They trained 3 or 4 hours a day, sometimes twice a day, spent a lot of the rest of the day on the beach, and everybody did that together as like a brotherhood, as a camaraderie. So it just ended up being that's the way that everybody there trained. It's just culture. Should vertical and horizontal pulling be done in a 50-50 ratio for hypertrophy? No, and this makes absolutely no sense, and I have no idea where these ratio things come from. Vertical pulling is primarily limited by your lats. Okay, horizontal pulling is primarily limited, rowing motions are primarily limited by the upper back and traps. So they're unrelated in terms of, you don't need a ratio. They aren't even antagonists. Do you do a ratio for leg curls and leg extensions? No. Each muscle needs as much volume as it needs to grow, and it's independent of other muscles. What's your take on cheat meals? How often do you incorporate them? So it depends on what you define as a cheat meal. If to you a cheat meal is an unrestricted eating bonanza where you can have all you want with no limitations whatsoever, I rarely do that unless I'm in the absolute peak of off season. And oftentimes I'm so full when I'm doing that for my regular food that I actually eat less when I go out to eat at a restaurant. Compared to if I am on any kind of a diet, I do not have unrestricted cheat meals, period, never. I will occasionally do calorie equated swaps in order to be social. So I'll go to Olive Garden with my partner or something, and I will swap my rice, chicken, and potato for a calorie equal amount of spaghetti and meatballs. Now, if I was 12 weeks, 16 weeks out from a contest, I would only eat at home because you simply cannot trust restaurants in terms of what they're putting in the food. Even if they have a nutrition menu, the calories could be off by 100. Any advice for working out in the heat? I am currently traveling. The gym has no AC, and it's 98 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So I can definitely relate to this situation because during COVID, I was living in Southern California, but not the beach part, the desert part. So Palm Springs kind of area. And the only gyms available were the ones outside. And it was often 110, 120 outside in summer. So what you're going to have to do is make sure you bring chilled drinks that have added electrolytes. There's all sorts of electrolyte products that you can put in your chilled drinks. Pure water is going to contribute to dehydration because you're going to lose electrolytes too fast if you're sweating a lot in that kind of heat. And second, you're going to need a little bit longer time between sets to get your heart rate back to normal. If you don't auto-regulate your rest periods, I would consider doing so in the heat. Do you like Indian food? No, I usually don't. And it's really not Indian food. It's all spicy food in general. All food in general that has very strong herbs and spices I don't like. I have the most basic white person palate that has ever existed. I like basic spaghetti and meatballs, like hamburger with ketchup, rice and chicken with garlic salt on it. Honestly, if you put super spicy sauce on chicken wings, it ruins it for me. If you make anything spicy, it ruins it for me. I don't like spicy food. So I usually don't like Indian food. Was it just trust in a coach that convinced you that rapid weight gain was a good idea? So I was never convinced that rapid weight gain was a good idea. That was never the intention. The main reason that free meals are included is it's periodization, basically. You need parts of the year where you're going to diet so hard and on such repetitive foods with absolutely zero social life that many people will simply break if they don't have other periods of the year where they can be normal once a week. I think what happened is the coach just underestimated how much I can eat in one sitting because I'm sort of an outlier in that regard. I can easily put down 5,000, 10,000 calories in one sitting. And I was sending in update pictures the whole time and he was saying, this looks fine, until it didn't. Obviously, I wouldn't do it again if I had the chance. Alrighty, everybody, that is the end of the video. So you know the drill. If you liked the video, please like the video. Questions and comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day, and I will provide an update on the injury situation when I have one. Peace.